And we discovered that when you looked at how data is distributed on just about every disk drive a company owns, some interesting things appear. One, about 30% of the data stored to every hard disk deployed by a firm is used to store actual valuable, active business data assets. These are assets that are used day to day to perform business work. Okay, another 40% of the data occupying space on that disk is inert. That doesn't mean it's bad data. In fact, it may have historical value. It may be something you're required to hold on to for regulatory reasons, but it's never accessed anymore. And it belongs in an archive rather than on your primary storage where it's taking up space. And then finally, you've got several other categories of data that we discovered that are, the actual percentages all differ from one company to the next. But we discovered that about 15% of the space on just about every disk you own is allocated but unused, what we call dark storage. Another 10% is contains orphan data. That's data whose metadata points to a server or user that no longer exists at the company, and nobody knows what the heck that data is. And then another 5% or so is contraband. It's a guy who thinks his ex-wife's last name is JPEG. He's downloading every picture he can find of her off the internet. So it's sitting on your infrastructure, occupying space on your desk. So when you think about it, with a little bit of basic data hygiene and an archive, you could potentially reclaim up to 70% of the storage capacity that you already own. You don't hear a lot of vendors these days talking about storage reclamation. Everybody wants to sell you more capacity. It's sort of the Doritos model. Crunch all you want, we'll make more. All right, so basically, and then your final option, and the one that's probably most available to you with the least amount of work today, is to go out and seek a data management software solution. There are a couple of qualified candidates in that space. They provide a set of management services and a means to assign those services to data on a pretty granular basis using the business context of the data, the regulatory requirements, the aspects of the storage hosts that are out there, how costly they are, how fast they are, et cetera. And then, of course, to monitor the frequencies of data re-reference and modification and other characteristics that might the trigger when to move that data around. Now, how advanced are those? Well, I've been invited to speak here by Commvault, and I'm looking forward to hearing what they have to say. They are regarded as a leader in the burgeoning data management software space. But at this point, I'm going to hand things over to Don.
Just as a quick high level about Commvault and what we've been doing in market, we are a company that offers a true data management solution under a single platform. So there are a number of different data management methodologies that we execute from in our single Sympana platform. Everything from what our customers or what our prospects as the market knows as traditional backup, to some of the content-based archiving, to snapshot integration, data replication, all the way to e-discovery, content retention, search, and access. Those are all executed from our single platform. And this one platform that we've developed is one that has been built through organic development, meaning we haven't acquired companies or technologies. So there's some real synergies when it comes to trying to drive data management. Because as John points out, there's a number of different applications, hypervisor environments, file system types, even locations, hardware vendors, etc., that as a customer you're trying to integrate. And in order to allow all of these different solution sets to work well together in a true data management solution, you've got to have some way that you can truly integrate and tie them together in a way that's referenceable and that makes sense so that you can truly identify, classify, and execute upon your data management strategies. So to kick things off here, just as a high level from who Sympana is, who Commvault is, what the Sympana platform provides, what really makes up data management from a Commvault or a Sympana perspective? And as data sets get larger, unfortunately, we're not getting more time in our days or shorter SLAs. And so the only way to actually execute on that level of recovery is to keep it in native format and have it readily available. But then again, not all data is created equal, nor is all data also required for the same level of SLA. So a one-size-fits-all solution set is not something that's required, especially when we start making up data management solution sets. What we at Commvault have done, inside of our Sympana platform, we have created this logical store that we call our content store. Now, based on how we touch information, we provide metadata indexing as well as content-based indexing, depending upon how it's turned on, enabled, and driven, against all the data sets that we touch. Whether this be application awareness inside snapshots, inside your production storage array for that top tier data set inside your data center, whether we're talking backup to disk, backup to cloud, backup to tape, across all these different tiers, our content store is driving that contextual indexing of the application, the owner, the ACLs, the meta information, so that you actually have some way that you can drive importance and policy creation based on the data that's already been collected inside that content store. The content store is the key to opening up these abilities in this true tiered storage data management strategy. This is what our content store enables. The moment we touch the data, we're now enabling all these extra use cases and eliminating that idea of dark data inside your storage mechanisms. So with that, Sympana provides just a slew of data management efficiencies. Not only do we provide those protection and archive components, all the application integration and content awareness, noting how to protect a database or information inside of a SharePoint store or information that might just live on a NAS, but then also provide multiple data management techniques off of that single touch. So a perfect example of how this content store unlocks this dark data. Sympana drives a solution that we call OnePath. Works for exchanged information stores, works for NAS file stores, and file systems across the board. And what it allows us to do is touch the data once for a backup operation. And from there, leverage all the meta information that we have inside of our content store to drive its long-term retention based on file policies that you set. So whether they're, if I'm a bank and I've got mortgage documents, any mortgage documents that might align with specific meta information can be held for whatever the length of time that mortgage was kept for, whatever the regulation requirement may be. That's all done as a one pass and managed internal to the tiering setup of content store itself. This really starts to open up and realize that I can now execute one process, and instead of going forward and constantly hitting my production IT data centers and storage environments, I can start leveraging my actual data management solution to classify and policy step my data through its actual lifecycle management.